4, 3, 2, 1.
Say kids, what time is it?
You're something else.
Putting a food together, it's more like interacting with people and making the food part of people's lives, and making it interactive, making it social, making it fun. I've been following my vibe for half my life. 17 years. 17 years been doing this. You know what? I discovered my vibe at a really early age. I think it was just out of elementary school, and I always loved cooking, and my mother was a great inspiration. She always had something really great on the stove when we got home, no matter what. No matter what. I want my vibe to inspire others, because it's when you get into cooking and the culinary arts as a career, it can seem somewhat unrewarding because you're working long hours and you're always working when everyone else is having fun, you know, like holidays, weekends and everything. But I just want to inspire people that it's not always about the money. It should be about the quality of life. And as long as you enjoy what you're doing, you'll never be working a day in your life. Are you feeling my vibe?
So like, what made you like cooking? Like, how have you felt that it has really changed people's lives and brought people together? Do you feel like that art form is lost, or is it?
You know what? I don't think it's a dying art form. I think for a while it was buried a little bit, but then once, you know, like you have shows like on the Food Network and everything that really started bringing food kind of back in, and to some people it's almost like a trend, like it's a style. But you know, now I think food is more popular than ever. People are going back to fresh and made from scratch, and people really want to know where their food comes from, which is really, really important to me, because food is a universal language. I've traveled a lot of different places in the world, and that food really connects people, and there's always a story behind it, there's always history behind it, so it's something that's always going to be there. We're always going to have to eat.
So you mentioned food is going back to fresh, and it's going back to people wanting to understand where it all comes from. What about healthy food? Are you finding that there's more vegetarians, less meat eaters? Are you finding that
there's a lot more vegetarians, there's a lot more allergies, there's just a lot more awareness out there. So I'm not sure where all these allergies are coming from. Maybe it's just human evolution, but it definitely keeps me on my toes. I have some clients that I see every single week, and they have their certain dietary restrictions and a list of ingredients that they could have. So I have to take those ingredients and reinvent them every single time.
Wow. What's your signature dish?
My signature dish?
Yeah.
I would have to say my red curry crusted rack of lamb with mango chutney.
Where's that from? Is that just?
You know what? It's I guess it's not really a typical dish. It would be, I guess, a little bit more Indian, but just the way that I've done it, it's just kind of like my own, I don't know, I guess my own recipe that I came up with, and it gets them every single time. Every single time.
So desserts, you do desserts too, or is it just really just hearty food?
You know what? I do a lot of hearty food, but I do desserts. I'm no pastry chef by any means, but I guess my philosophy on desserts is that I try and keep them small and rich, rather than just like a big piece of thing on your plate, you know? Because I feel at the end of the meal sometimes you don't want another big plate. You just want something small and rich. Get your sugar fix, get your sweets, and then you're good.
So I guess my last question is, where can we find you?
Okay, well, where could you find me? That's a very interesting question, because I'm not in a restaurant. I'm a personal chef and private caterer. So, one, I guess the way most people find me, if they haven't met me, is usually on the web at www.chefrob.ca. But You know, you'll find me catering random cool events, either at someone's house who you know, or just at a really cool place. I do some work on TV occasionally with breakfast television. And I've done other web series. Actually, I did a web series called The Chef's Pantry Raid, and it was a show based on me showing up to someone's house with one ingredient and going through the refrigerator and their pantry and freezer and creating a dish based off that one ingredient. So it was improvisation all the time, and it was really good. So I guess in answer to your question, you could find me everywhere. You just gotta look.
Yeah. Okay, one more question actually. How is the dynamic of chefs out there? Is it sort of like your own little society? Is it a growing one? Are you guys connecting with each other?
You know,
competition?
You know what? I think a long time ago there was competition. Now I find that everyone is really connecting with each other and trying to learn off each other and trying to support off each other. You know, chefs are, I guess you could say they're in a class of their own, because sometimes you just really have to understand the mentality of a chef. But I think really what it comes down to is being very passionate about what you're doing, being passionate about your ingredients, and understanding the lifestyle that you have to lead just to get what you need done. Now, I'm going to attempt to pronounce this. My Thai isn't really that exactly. But it's tom kha gai soup. Now, it's a coconut chicken soup. Now, a lot of soups you'll find in Thailand have that coconut milk to it. Now, what coconut milk does is it adds a little bit of richness and a tiny bit of texture. I would not say that it really thickens it. That would be something that would be more like coconut cream would make it a little bit thicker. But basically with this soup, we just started off with some chicken strips and cooked it with a little bit of garlic, turmeric. Turmeric looks very similar. I would say it looks more like galangal than it does ginger, but it's actually really usually find like what do we call it, the rhizomes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're usually like a little bit smaller, and when you cut them open, they're like bright yellow. I used powdered. That's usually what we find it in the powdered form. So anyways, I added some chicken stock, some of that delicious coconut milk, and brought it up to a boil. And then I added some chili paste, some galangal, and some lime juice. And I also added some shiitake mushrooms in here, and there's a little bit of red pepper in here, and some peas in here as well, just to give it a little bit more body. You know, when you're making this at home, you can put whatever you like in it. I think when it comes to recipes like this, you really want to focus more on the broth is what you're really trying to achieve, and then everything else you're adding to it is just body.
Would you say the coconut milk would cut the spiciness a little bit? Just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coconut milk is really good for cutting the spiciness. And that's another reason why you find coconut milk in a lot of curry dishes, whether it's an Asian curry or more of a Caribbean curry, is because it does kind of tone things down a bit while still giving it a nice flavor. And you can always smell that coconut. Now, if you don't want to follow this soup recipe exactly, I'm going to give you another idea when you're making soup at home. especially during the winter, we always love making chicken soup for ourselves or loved ones when they're feeling sick. Put a little bit of a twist on it is even chop up some lemongrass stalks, or you can actually get like frozen chopped lemongrass.
Oh wow, so cool.
You can pick this up at most Asian grocery stores. And
Can I pass it around?
yeah, you can pass it around. And so you can add a little bit of that to your chicken soup, and then even finish it off with a little bit of coconut milk. Another important note: the chicken that I used in there is I used chicken thigh. Now I prefer the dark meat on the chicken, especially when I'm making like soups or curries, something like that. The dark meat seems to hold the moisture a lot better, whereas sometimes the white meat can dry right out. That's just my take on what type of chicken I would use. Now this is one of those dishes that you just can't do a Thai cooking demo and not include, right? So I'm not sure if this. Did you ever do Thai? Did you ever do Thai cooking before here? Mm-hmm. Okay. So
My friend Park actually.
okay, so if anyone's been to the other one, I don't know. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that you probably saw some pad Thai. Now, there's a lot more ingredients that actually go into the sauce than actually go into the noodle dish. Now, what I have here is I have these rice noodles. Let me see how they are right now. Oh yeah, no, these ones are good. You're not cooking them as you would. You're not cooking them as you would pasta, right? So what you're doing is you're bringing the water up to a boil. Some recipes will say use hot water. I just like bringing it up to a boil and then covering the noodles, because you just get those results a lot faster. And I'm gonna try one. Could use a tiny bit longer, but that sauce is gonna help. Now, I'm supposed to use a wok. I don't have a wok, so I'm just gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and do this in 3 different pans. Drum roll, please. Okay. Get these down to medium heat. Okay, so I'm going to start with getting the shrimp. But I have some shrimp and garlic here together. The shrimp was giving off a tiny bit of water, but I have some garlic in here, so I'm going to want to keep that. But I think it's, when you are cooking with shrimp, just make sure that you thaw them out if you are getting them frozen. And to any that have been to my demos before, or any of the ones with the conservatory, whenever I do use shrimp, I give you a little bit of shrimp 101. And shrimp 101 is knowing the size of shrimp that you're choosing. Now when it says 2630, that's probably the most common one you'll find at the grocery store, but that means 26 to 30 shrimp per pound. So when you have 2125, it's 21 to 25 shrimp per pound. And that just lets you know on the size. So if you're looking to do a shrimp dinner and you pick up the bag and you can't even see in it and it says 6-8 shrimp, well, those are going to be pretty big. But that's just an easy way to tell. All right, I don't want my shrimp overcooked, so I'm going to put these here for a second right now. This one still needs to cook.
What size do you suggest using?
You know what? I always use the 21-25s. I find that for the size of shrimp that you're getting, they're really like that perfect size. And your company is not going to look at you like you're just like, what, can I get some more shrimp here or something like that? You know, should I have brought my own shrimp? So I got some chicken. I put some sugar here. I forgot sugar, so I'm using sugar cubes. Feel free to use sugar cubes at home if you like. I got some chicken stock there, and I think I want a little bit more and actually save some. This is not traditional ale. It is chicken stock. And I'm gonna add some fish sauce. Big surprise. Some oyster sauce. So if you got a seafood allergy, this really is not for you. And some of that chili paste. Now on the recipe there, it probably says garlic chili paste. You can use whichever. You know, you can find the chili paste with garlic. You can find the chili paste on its own. Either one you use is fine. I'm gonna put that here for a minute. Gonna juice the lime. Anytime you're juicing a lemon, lime, orange, or anything citrus, give it a good roll on the cutting board to soften it up. And you'll find you get a lot more juice. Because sometimes, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you pick up like a lemon or lime and it's like rock hard and you cut it in and you try and squeeze it and like nothing comes out. Well, that's not going to happen with these. You get a lot of juice. So we've got this sauce. I'm going to drain the noodles and then I'm going to show you an important step with the eggs. Okay, we're bringing it back. Now, put a little bit less oil than I needed, just because I know I'm going to have to cook the egg. Okay, now this is something. Okay, so let's get our eggs in there. Let's make some scrambled eggs. You just want to cook the eggs, so it's not a big deal if it touches the shrimp while you're doing this. You just want to cook the eggs. Then we want to Add some noodles. Well,
Or are they gonna shrink a lot?
you're not really cooking it over again. Like once you get all this liquid and everything into the pan, it still is gonna give off some heat, but you can undercook them just as long as you're not extremely like overcooking it. Like I'm talking, you cook these till they're like really hard before. So I guess just use your discretion.
I guess because you're using the hot water, you're almost cooking them before.
Yeah,
A
so
lot
it's,
of times you soak these rice noodles in cold water for an hour, and then they're still a little al dente, but you cook them a little bit longer in the pan.
yeah, and you know what? The thing is, even with these ones, even if these ones do come out a little al dente, throwing this liquid back in here is definitely going to soften them up too. So I have that. Add a little bit of bean sprouts in there. We're gonna save some because we definitely want to garnish with them. And then just some green onions that we chopped up nice and long. I think we're ready to go because everything is heated in here, right? And it's not like we're really waiting on like cooking down these bean sprouts and these green onions. We just kind of want to get them tossed in everything and hot. So I'm gonna turn off. Does anyone have any nut allergies? All right. I'm going to taste test the sauce on this here. That's exactly where you want it to be. Now, Bonnie, you said that you like pad thai. What do you use as a substitute for the fish sauce? You just use soy sauce?
Yeah, usually the recipe I have just use soy sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just have it with sugar rather than mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a slightly different flavor.
It's a slightly different flavor, but you don't eat meat, so we're not going to hold it against you. I've never held it against you, have I?
I don't.
No.
It's okay. Yeah. Or you can get that. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, but look at the camera.
It's excellent, yeah.
It's incredible. It's really good.
Fantastic.
And over here, how is it, guys?
Full of flavor.
Your How is it, guys?
Very delicious. It's just delicious. It's really good.
It's awesome.
Magnifique.
Well, thank you everyone for your time and coming down tonight and giving me the opportunity to cook some Thai food for you. It's a cuisine that I'm not cooking every single day. However, I do like to have fun and I do like to cook with it. So thanks for being here and letting me have fun.
Say kids, what time is it?
You're something else.
Intensify the treatment.